Hey guys, audio got fucked up again. So that's the second time in a row. So this is going to be my second time recording this show. It happened, audio got fucked up yesterday when I was recording the Tulane media. So it's fine. Uh, we got we got some games to get to. Not too many games. All right, let's get back into it. Not too many games, just 4 games, but they were some good games. We're gonna start off with the first game of the week, and that was Cincinnati at East Carolina. That was probably the most exciting game of the week. It's two teams where since it's two teams, and these teams are complete opposites. Cincinnati started off 3-0, and since then had lost 4 straight ever since in conference games started. East Carolina started off 0-2, I believe, and then has won 4 straight. So when you talk about that, you can't get any different. Um, Hold on. You can't get any different. And it was going to be an interesting game, and it did not disappoint. Cincinnati comes out with a win, winning 19-17. A very close game, saved by their only point in the fourth quarter, which was a field goal. It was just a bad game for East Carolina quarterback Stephen Rivero, and I feel like that was the difference maker. 2 interceptions. Well, he did throw 2 touchdowns. He was 23 for 7, only 103 yards, and 2 interceptions. I feel like maybe without those 2 interceptions, East Carolina picks up a win here, and we see them advancing, beating Cincinnati, and strengthening their claim to make that ACC Conference Championship game. There's not much else to talk about. It was a very close game, but when it comes to it, Cincinnati just outplayed East Carolina. They showed that they were a more talented team. Hoping for East Carolina to bounce back because they're an exciting team, and it'd be nice to. I don't play them this season as Tulane. I don't play them, so for a while it looked like I was going to be seeing them in the conference championship game, and that was pretty exciting to go around and play everyone in the AAC. But we'll see. I'm rooting for them. I'm hoping they can come in. I really want to play ECU. They look like a nice team. It's the only team in the AAC I don't play in the regular season. So moving on, we got Temple at UCF. Again, another two teams who are also really good. UCF 4-2 and Temple 3-3. I had them 4-5 on my recruiting board, or not recruiting board. Sorry, I'm thinking about recruiting, which came out a couple minutes ago. I have them 4-5 on my AAC rankings. Well, that was last week. They're playing again this week, and one of them has to fall because one of them is going to win, and that was UCF. They get a pretty good win, 34-10. They kind of slipped down my rankings after losing, and they slipped down some other ones, but a big win against Temple is going to see them jump up, maybe even start getting some votes for top 25. Bit of a stretch, but who knows? I feel like the difference maker for this game was Jonathan Levine just played out of his mind. He threw for 3 touchdowns. The Temple just couldn't stop UCF's explosive offense, and their offense isn't their strength. The strength is their defense, and when you look at that, free safety Kevin Grant pulled off 2 interceptions. He had 2 interceptions. It was the only 2 interceptions by Temple quarterback Mike Perkins. So I've been looking at it, and I've been telling you guys this whole thing. UCF usually doesn't win games by their offense; they win games through their defense, and they kind of flipped the script on this one, scoring 34 points, but the defense showed up strong, only allowing 10. It was a great game, but I don't think we've heard the last of Temple. They're a really good team. They could bounce back and make some more noise in the AAC. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But next up, we have Houston at Memphis, and now we're getting to the less exciting at least on paper, games. And the reason I say that is because Memphis is 1-5 and Houston's 2-4. But Houston's a very under the radar, sneaky good team. They've got 2 wins, and I will always talk about this one because you can never take it away from them. As a team without any wins, they went in and beat number 6 TAMU. It was just a very impressive win from them, and like it's shown that they have the ability to pull out big wins. Memphis is just struggling. They're not a good team. 1-5. They don't really have the talent. It's a different story than Houston, but Memphis just found something within them, and they were able to go out and get a win, winning 23-14. Without scoring in the fourth quarter, Houston just wasn't able to do enough in the second half to get back. They were outscored 16-0 in the first half, and in the second half, they only put up 14. While Memphis got another touchdown. They just couldn't do enough. I really think that this comes down to they couldn't stop the running game. Tyler Smith, 30 attempts for 179 yards and a touchdown. Corey Stevens, 11 attempts for 106 yards and 2 touchdowns. Devontae Doyle on the ground impresses like always. 27 attempts. Former quarterback turned running back. 27 attempts, 147 yards, and 1 touchdown, but he fumbled the ball twice. He also was targeted 10 times in the passing game, caught the ball 7 times for 64 yards and another touchdown. So Devontae Doyle had all of the points for Houston. Other than the kicker, but kickers aren't people, so we don't need to focus on them. So, a really great game. Really hoping Houston can bounce back, but it's a good one for Memphis. It's a really good one for Memphis. To get a good one like this under their belts, advancing to 2-5. And next up, it was the last game of the week, and it was probably the one that was hyped up the most. It's Tulsa at Navy. 0-5 Navy at home versus 1-5 Tulsa. And I've been waiting to talk about this game, and I talked about it once already. And I get to talk about it again, so that's one good thing about the audio crapping itself out. But Navy comes away with a shocking upset against the former national champions with a 48-13 win. Benny Ramirez, the quarterback who has been terrible to mediocre, threw the ball 25 times for 17 completions and 175 yards. It's an okay performance. Then you look at his passing touchdowns, and in that okay performance, he had 4 passing touchdowns. Absolutely insane. And on the ground, Don Perkins, the lead back, 21 attempts for 223 yards and a touchdown, and a new name at the running back position, starting quarterback, turned backup running back, Alberto Martin, with 19 attempts, it's 161 yards and 1 touchdown in his debut at the running back position. Love seeing quarterbacks at running back because they have worked out a lot, and it's very nice to see it. And I'm happy to see another one having success. Brandon Pipkins, he tried his best, 20 attempts, 109 yards, and 2 touchdowns and a fumble. He just couldn't carry the team enough. The big difference here for Navy was the receivers were making catches. Navy's had a problem with the receivers not making the catches this season, but you could not tell them that this game. Brent Bridges, your tight end, he had 6 catches. Wes Asuna, their top wide receiving target, 6 targets, 4 catches. He had 2 touchdowns. Tevin Griffin, 7 targets, 4 catches. They were making catches, and that's something we usually don't see out of this Navy team, and that's what really made the difference and got them that win. So great game for Navy. For Tulsa, I said it before, and I'll say it again. They won the national championship. They won the Natty last year. They can lose every game for the remaining history of the sim. I doubt they want to do that. They probably don't. They won't. They will win some more games. But nobody will be able to take away that they were the first national championships of Sim CFP. So while you're having a down year, while you're having a national championship hangover, cling to the fact that you are already in the history books. But on a more positive note for Tulsa, they won big in recruiting last week. getting highly touted recruit quarterback Cesar Chacon, which I know that Tulsa coach Ace Wolf, who is, in case you didn't know, he is Larry Coker. So we have a coaching legend in our midst. Um, uh, he was really proud of that. And he's really high on Cesar Chacon, so I can't wait to watch him get to work. Uh, oh, I forgot. I had something special planned for the first Navy win. So, supposed to be at the start, but without further ado, I'm going to send it over to blow something special for Navy. Yes, I had to do something like that. It was a great win. They've been waiting for this, and I've been saving that video for their first win ever since about week 4. So happy I finally get to pull it out. Let's get to my AAC rankings. At third, we have ECU. They lost, so they fell. But they didn't do enough. They didn't lose by enough, and no, they benefited from only 4 games being played, and 2 of those games being from some of the bottom feeders of the conference. Because of that, no team did enough to take them out of the top 3. There was one team though, and that was UCF. With a big win, they're back on the radar, and they're showing that the loss that pulled them out, that kind of took them down, was a fluke. And they didn't play this week. No team did enough to dethrone the King. Tulane stays at number 1, 5-1, undefeated in conference play. Only lost to a very good Indiana team. They're still at number 1. But let's get over to my full rankings, where we see some big changes, such as number 11 is no longer the home of Navy. It belongs to SMU. 1-6 SMU, 1-3 in the conference. SMU is the worst team in the AAC. It is no longer Navy. At 10, we have Tulsa. They are below Navy, just because Navy won against them. Then Navy, then Memphis, and Houston's above Memphis, despite losing, because I feel like they're still the better team. They have the same record. Keep in mind, these are just my own personal rankings. There's nothing official. I loosely go off of overall, but if I feel like there's a big enough gap, I change them. I feel like Houston is just so much better than Memphis that despite Memphis getting the win against them, they are still a better team. Then we have Temple and USF. This is where we start getting to the teams that can compete for a conference championship game, with one exception that I will get to. Temple and USF could, even Memphis, if things swing their way, Temple and Memphis can sneak their way into the conference championship. They would need to get lucky with a couple losses at the top. Then USF, East Carolina, and UCF also have a really good shot, but all 3-1 in conference, and then Tulane has the best shot as of now with 3-0. But that's without looking at schedule in the future. I feel like Tulane has a very hard schedule in the future, so we'll get to that a little bit later. The only team in the top 6 that I don't think has a shot of making the conference championship is Cincinnati. They got their first conference win, but that puts them at 1-3. And despite being the 4th best team in the AAC, in my opinion, they would have to have a miracle if they want to find a way to get into the AAC conference championship game. I just don't see it happening. Now, getting to recruiting, where we had 3 AAC commitments. First off, we have the man, highly sought after by many, T. Sweezy. When the fuck did you start getting in on this guy? And there's another guy that I like that you're in on, so back up. It's big old Jeffrey Bethillier, a wide receiver, 5-star, out of Hyattsville, Maryland. UMD Maryland wanted him with the close to home bonus, but Tulane is able to sway him away. He's a B overall, C potential guy, testing wide receiver. We're losing. We're losing Fernando Thomas this year, and this is somebody that I see that can, be the next Fernando Thomas. Maybe even be an improved version. I see this guy as somebody who can be a better version of our best wide receiver in school history. So whenever you see someone like that, you got to go and make a play for them. So that's what I did. I hopped in and I tried to make a play for them, and I ended up getting them. Next up, we have another recruit coming to Tulane, finding a home in Tulane, and it is cornerback Oscar Reiser, 4-star out of Fort Worth, Florida. I really wanted to, build up my corner room because I have two big guys, two big corners leaving. So I have another cornerback that I have eyes on. That's the guy that T Sweezy is going after. But zone coverage, 4-star B overall, B minus potential. He's a really nice guy. I felt like he flew under the radar. Not a lot of people had eyes on him. But moving on, we have the last person to commit to the AAC this week. They're not going to Tulane. They're going to East Carolina University. It is defensive tackle Matthew Wilkes, and you may be thinking that's a very skinny defensive tackle. I'm not good enough to make my own edits from scratch, so I rely on already made edits, and I could only find defensive back edits. So this is a defensive back, but just pretend he's a 6'2", 285-pound pass rushing defensive tackle. 4-star out of Richmond, Virginia. C overall, C plus potential. This is a guy who, not gonna lie, he's a bit of a dummy. He's pretty much failing all of his classes in high school right now. But boy, can this man play football. Who cares if he can't spell the word dog, which, by the way, he can't. He knows that's the guy with the ball. I need to get him, and he goes and gets him. So, huge guy, big fan of Matthew Wilkins. He's going to be a great, he's going to be a great addition to the AAC for years to come. And this is the last segment we have of the AAC wrap-up show. It's a bit of a shorter segment, but that's just coming from the fact that we had a lot less games. We're going to be going over next week's games. So, Tulane is coming off their bye week, and they are getting a home game. They had a gauntlet of 3 games on the road, where they went 2-1, dropping the first of those. But they're back at home to play the number 2 team. It's going to be a really good matchup, especially with UCF winning. Tulane, number 1 in the conference, Tulane, hosts number 2 in the conference, UCF. It's going to be a good game, so make sure you guys are ready for that one. It's probably going to be the best game there. Next up, we have Cincinnati at Houston. Houston, I keep saying it, Houston has a good team. They just need to pull off like 1 or 2 more wins on the season, and show that they can, pull out those wins when it really matters. And, that would be a lot to build on for next year. If they can get a win at home, and, winning at home is good, but it's pretty easy. If they can get a win it's much easier than on the road, at least. If they can get a win at home against a good Cincinnati team, that would go a long way for for that program. Next up, we have USF, the number 4 team in my rank. No, the number 5 team in my rankings, going to play Tulsa in Tulsa's house. Tulsa can I keep saying it. If Tulsa gets 1 or 2 more wins, then I feel like we can. They're just having trouble finding their rhythm, and I think they're close. They figured it out in a game. They got a win, but I think they are close, and I think we'll start seeing them back in the win column soon. So, next up, we have another very exciting game. There's a lot of exciting games this week, this week 9, and that's East Carolina at Temple. 2, again, very good AAC teams, 2 teams near the top, number 3 and number 6 battling it out. So it's going to be a really good game. And next up, we have another game which, despite the teams being will be a good game. It's Memphis at Navy. Navy coming off their first win. Can they build on that? Well, they can't ask for an easier team to face, um, other than maybe SMU. So if Navy's going to turn their season around, it's going to be winning back to back, winning you know winning at home against Tulsa, and then winning at home against Memphis would go a long way for them. And the last game we have, it's going to be a wash. It's going to be a loss for the AAC. I'm already calling it. We got the worst team in the AAC, SMU, going to Michigan to play Michigan State. There's just no way they come away with a win. As much as I love this conference, I gotta be realistic. SMU sucks. They're not gonna win that game. I'm only saying this because SMU doesn't have a coach. At least I don't think so. If they do have a coach, I'm gonna feel like an asshole. So hope they don't have a coach for the season just yet. But that's everything. That's the show. So yeah, just double checked. That's the show. That's the end of the show. So you know, I don't have an ending. I don't have a way to end it. So it always ends awkwardly with me just talking and rambling and then randomly ending it. So it's gonna end now.